Welcome to AlKimia Behind the Scenes. My name is Abdulaziz Lamnam. This is
Jacob Dixon.
Tamara Lenz.
Callum Dent.
and this is the crew that made AlKimia.
AlKimia is a dance film based on the idea of portraying the elements. We looked at portraying earth, air, fire, and water, and we shot this all in the KN Singh Studios at the University for the Creative Arts at Farnham.
The idea was that we'd start with earth. Earth is all kind of stiff movements, very ground-based. Our dancer wouldn't be moving too much. We want her to be low down and eventually progress. So we go to water, more fluid, the movements break out a bit more, we see more colour as well, and then into air, fluidity, light fluidity, not like water, and then eventually into fire, which is really strong movements, very energetic, lots of colour, and it's kind of like our dancers become fully formed, alive, and all the elements have come together to create life.
In order to go ahead with this project, we had to host an audition for our lead solo dancer, and in order to do this, I set off on Casting Call Pro, Dancers Pro, London Dance, and various other websites, including reaching out to Rachel Palmer's dance company in Farnham. And in total, I think our project got approximately 320 views with 12 applications and 3 auditions. Of those 3 auditions, only 2 showed up, and that's where we found Sharon Henry, our lead dancer.
I've been dancing now for about 19 and a half years, so it's quite some time. Originally, I am from Nigeria, and I spent a lot of my childhood and teenage years in Southern California in Pasadena. That's why I have this crazy, stupid accent. I'm also an actress and a singer. And I'm also a mother. I keep forgetting that as well. But dancing has always been my passion. I did performing arts as well. And I teach in my spare time, which is very rare, but I do try.
We ended up with these 2 dancers who I thought personally were really well experienced. They were really good dancers. They're very professional. One of them only just out of university, and one that had been a dancer for the double the amount of time, and I think that kind of showed. Whilst obviously they were both great, we needed someone who could really listen to what we had to say, to interpret what we said into something that's improvised but structured, and it's not an easy thing to do, especially for us to understand. I think it's something that takes time to understand how to improvise to a set of instructions. So Sharon just did that so well that we knew instantly. We were like, she is the one.
When I first found out about it, I just thought when I found out what the actual title meant, and that was using the elements and thinking, right, so how are we going to manipulate this to make it look authentic, I guess, and I suppose to a certain degree it is the environment, but a lot of it has to do with the dancer to manipulate it, to make it look authentic as well. Like, for example, I was actually in water and I was using that. I was the fire. So it's up to the dancer to make it more, authentic.
We were down to our last 4 days before our production, and I went off to Tim Savage to get our medium high risk signed off. And he came back to us saying that our plans for a 4x4 or 3x3 meter pool was just too much water to hold into the studio. So a compromise was made so that we would build a waterbed that was 2x2 meters instead. And that changed up our dance a bit. It meant the water dance couldn't be involve as much movement as we thought it could have. Okay, let's take it towards you. That didn't work.
Joe, what are you doing?
What are you doing? The morning of our first day of shooting, Jacob was admitted into hospital. And that meant Callum and I had to improvise as camera assistants and take over.
So I got to use a few of the dollies, some of that, I broke our slider, but just different camera equipment that I've never used before, so that's quite an experience. Tomorrow used some of them as well. You shot?
Yeah, I shot on this Kubrick dolly, and I shot the fire scenes. Otherwise, given the circumstances, I think we recovered from it pretty well. We got the shots we needed.
We got Jacob brought like a to-do list of shots for himself for on set. We use that as reference.
The one thing that I thought about lighting was almost scary. We were shooting in the KN studio, and the KN studio is being used at a time where everyone's shooting in it. We couldn't get in to do proper like lighting tests. We knew what lights were available, we knew what gels were available, we did research into what to kind of achieve, but when it came down to it, it was very much would we be able to pull off what we had in our head.
We had to be bouncing the light around so much.
We were going to originally use redheads, weren't we?
Redheads for...
Yeah. And so we'd done I think we did our test with redheads, and then it came down to it, the health and safety form came back, we had to change it. So I remember Al particularly took some great kind of time with some of the lighting shots to produce some really nice colours, and especially on the days like water, like the blue was just, as you can see, is just like amazing. I think that's the one thing, like lighting, I underestimated, and luckily Al was able to do some really good stuff with the lighting.
Yeah,
I have to compliment him on that one.
We just need to do some more cutaways and more close-up shots, yeah. I think what we need to do as well, because we're going to get a close-up, we're going to have to move with the lights and get a diffuser panel on the face, just get like a nice smooth, soft shadows. Try and make it as beautiful as we possibly can.
Something that I felt that happened was, apart from the second half of the first day, it seems like you were all able to kind of enjoy the shoot. Just purely for the fact that there was organised, there was structure, there was a timetable of what was being shot then. It's like something like that should be fun, and it was, and there wasn't this thing you get of people arguing and just stress that was unnecessary. It was just, we know what we've got to get done, and like I got to watch some videos of just behind the scenes of you guys, and it just was nice to see that there was happiness, there was fun, there
was time to have fun. That's
yeah.
the most important.
We just finished.
Happy with the shots as well. I've just reviewed some of the shots.
You just have to clear up all that sand there.
It's a lot of sand, and then we're officially finished.
It was good though.
Well, we got post. That's
It's good though. We got some experience out of this. We know what can happen, that's bad, what's good, what's expected, what's not expected, and yeah, with time management and good producing tomorrow, everything looks good. One thing we would do next time, make sure we have more crew, because it seemed at the time, oh, some person would do that, and that, but in reality, everybody has to do one thing and quickly. So the next thing we're going to do is start organising footage, take it to the edit, colour correct, and we'll see you then.
And after the shoot, came to the actual edit, used Avid, imported all the rushes with AMA Link. The aim of the edit was to kind of make all the different elements into one. Even though they're all contrasted in different elements, we wanted to make them seem as though they're one. So the transitions were important from element to element, and the change in style was also important. Originally the song, Black and White, was too long, so we made a little rough cut and sent it to Gil Chang, telling him to try and change it to make it fit with our rough cut. Yeah, it was also originally a MP3 format, and he sent it back in a WAV after he had re-edited it as well. In terms of workflow, after I had finished the rough cut and they needed to do the VFX, I exported all the shots they needed in a PNG sequence so they could use After Effects for their little bit of magic, and then the online suite where we colour corrected and then finally exported.
VFX, what did we do?
Well, for the VFX, the idea was purely just to make what we wanted to happen in the studio happen. There were limitations in the studio with particularly water. It was supposed to be an infinity effect, like the water fades out into darkness, therefore there's no boundaries. And of course, health and safety once again came in.
We couldn't do the wides we wanted on set.
You miss out on a wide, which meant the water was quite close. So we it was particularly water that we did VFX. We took it into After Effects, and it was quite tedious.
Lots of rotoscoping.
It's just frame by frame. There was no other way to do it because she was dancing in a space. She was moving all her body, and so we simply just spent a lot of time just going through each shot, trying to make the space like that infinity effect, give it darkness and make it wide, and just give something else for the viewer. And it just stops that like limitation. It stops the association with the pool or anything like that, and just further supports the whole concept of AlKimia. For fire, she was dancing on carpet.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look visually appealing.
Carpet doesn't look nice. No.
So Al was experimenting with how we can kind of again go for the kind of infinity effect. It was spotlight, a bit of like blurring because there was marks on the carpet. So it was really, the VFX was about neatening it all up.
Yeah, nothing. We're not adding because we tried adding. It felt using the simplicity of the whole thing.
We only use VFX to neaten it up and to further support our idea, rather than to make it
overly complicated,
overly produced production, which it didn't need to be.
Towards the end of the project, when we had our edits complete, we did a screening in G14, the cinema at UCA. With this screening, we could see what colors really need to be boosted, tidy up all the small things that we might have forgotten on screen. So all in all, it's been quite productive.
Main point about the screening is it gave us a fresh look at the whole piece. That's why it's so important. It gave us a chance to bring in outsiders to look at the piece. We got some dancers to come in, we got our lecturer to come in, and Chris, who we worked with on the shoot, came to have a look. So their critiques were very valuable, and we were able to take them into consideration. Just the fact of seeing it on a big screen, it kind of feels like a finished piece as opposed to on the computer. So once the screening was finished, it was like, okay, we've got a finished piece, it feels good, and I think we were all very happy.
Yeah.
Like, the challenges of a production is you don't know when things are going to pop up. So like we said, like, health and safety comes along, you kind of don't anticipate that, especially if it's a first production. You don't anticipate that you're going to just lose a crew member on your first day. And especially one that, like, everyone doing their own research, mine was into exactly what I was going to do with the camera on the day, and suddenly I'm not there. It's like, well, someone's going to have to take over, and it was obviously a huge loss, but the team did great. I shouldn't have been in, but I did come in later on that day just to see what was going on, and they did a fantastic job. And I think that's the great thing about working closely as a team, doing the team meetings. Everyone's always aware of what the other person's supposed to be doing, and we made sure that everyone in our team fully understood our idea, fully understood what we wanted to do, which is something you don't always get, especially with university projects. Like, you'll have someone with a strong idea, but the rest are uncertain. So we managed to carry it throughout as a team.